Hey everybody, this is Bradford with worshiptutorials.com. I'm going to be showing you another way to play the F sharp minor pentatonic scale. We have done this before with some other videos which you can check out here, but not that these limit you, but I think that when we show you this other way of doing the exact same scale, you'll kind of see how you can open up the fretboard even more. The guitar is not nearly as difficult as I think a lot of people tend to assume that it is, especially when you kind of look at it with scales, patterns, different shapes, and how it tends to repeat itself in a lot of different and fun and unique ways. One way is the fact that we can play the exact same scale that we learned a while back, this F sharp minor pentatonic scale. We can play that here, or we could come up here past the 12th, starting on the 14th fret, because it repeats itself again. And we can start it on the A string. Now there's a couple pluses with this. First off, it's just a different timbre in the sound of the notes. It's just a different sound altogether. So we're starting on the A string, and the root, the F sharp, is on the 9th fret. So the pattern that we're going to play, the shape we're going to play, is still very similar before. If you remember the F sharp minor pentatonic, when I tell you to play that, or when you play any of those pentatonic scales for that matter, you kind of pick that first fret where your root note is, in this case the 2nd fret of the low E string, and you don't go past behind that. So each time you go down to a new string, you hold yourself to that same fret, and I think that makes it a lot easier for me, maybe for you as well. But the slight difference with this one, we're still holding the same fret, so in this case 9th fret, and we're still skipping up a few frets, the same jump essentially. So from 9th to 12th, 9th again on your D string to the 11th fret, skip down a string again, and we're going to go to the G on the 9th fret to the 11th fret. And this is where it gets a little different here, not much, where we slide up 1 fret here to the B string on the 10th fret, and then go to the 12th. And then back down to the high E string, and we're going to go back to the 9th fret, and then to the 12th again. Now you can't just stay there, and that's going to keep things a lot more centralized, so you're going to get this sound. But you're going to realize that we're missing the top 2 notes of the scale, which are, and the only way to reach those is to scoot up here. So if you want to do the whole thing, the whole sound like this, you're going to have to skip up here, like this. But what that does also is put you in a position to play the same exact scale again, but in a different spot. So the biggest reason why I think that it's important to know this other shape, this other formation, this other positioning for this, is because you just opened up this part of the fretboard with using A major, F sharp minor, depending on where you're at, where you didn't really have that before when we just looked at the F sharp minor pentatonic, the A major, when we were here and here. So what we're doing is we're connecting these gaps to the point where you're pretty much opening this whole part of the fretboard. When you think about that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 13, depending on how many frets you have in your guitar. You take that and you double it when you put those scales into practice. That's 26 frets that you know notes on now. And that's a good way to kind of approach guitar, thinking as long as you move the root and you know where that is, you got different scales. So let's move it one time so we can kind of get the idea of how it's going to move and how it's going to feel when we relocate it, and then we'll be good. So let's look here at the B minor pentatonic. Let's look at the original position if we use the same phrasing and we use the same idea as we first went through. So remember, the relative minor of a major scale is the 6th note in that scale. So we're going to use B minor, so that means its relative major is D. So we're going to be here, and we're going to look at this kind of using the first way that we learned the pentatonic scale. Simple, we remember this one, same idea. So what we did here, if you want to look at the F sharp minor shape, move our root from the 2nd fret all the way up to the 7th fret. Same shape, different notes, different key completely. But let's do this. Let's skip down and let's make our root here instead of on the low E string. Let's make it on the A string. So that's the 2nd fret of the A string. So you're gonna recognize that it actually kind of, if you look at your B minor bar chord shape, we're kind of borrowing some of that positioning and stuff, which is another cool way to remember this. So we're going to do this here. 2nd fret up to the 5th fret. That's on the A string. Go to the D string, 2nd fret again, up to the 4th fret, down to the G, 2nd fret, 4th fret. B string, we're going to start on the 3rd fret this time to the 5th fret. High E string, 2nd fret to the 5th fret. And as we talked about, in order to get the last 2 notes, you will have to scoot up to the top end of the pentatonic shape using the low E string positioning, if you will. So that is really not anything new, I think, when you kind of look at, especially if you already knew those pentatonic scales, but it's a different way to utilize it. So what I can do here, using this shape here, using my A string as the root, I can take this and I can open up this part of the fretboard in a way that I wasn't able to use before, especially if that's how you kind of rely on notes like I do. I really feel confident when I do that because whatever reason, I can pick those notes out when I know what key I'm in a lot better. So we're opening up another chunk of the fretboard by using this kind of shaping and whatnot. So look how, I'm going to show you right now how I'm going to slide between the B minor pentatonic using the A string as the root, and I'm going to slide into using the first shape that we learned using the E string as the root, and kind of how I can use this whole chunk of fretboard with ease. So that's it for today. Hopefully you enjoy that, and hopefully you can make some great use of that. If you enjoy what you see, and if you just like anything else we put out, subscribe because we upload often. Don't forget to check out the website, worshiptutorials.com. We'll see you next time.